Today's topic is a really special and important topic, and the topic is how can we empower our women? So today we have a special guest. Thank you for being on our show, and it's really important that you're on our show. And speaking and representing for women, what do you think and how do you feel we could empower other women?
I believe that older women should be giving young girls more confidence and letting them know that all the stereotypes based on different cultures, different shapes and sizes, different skin colours shouldn't be there. I feel like young girls are doing that too much. They're looking at the little details too much, and that's going to stop them. And it is stopping them from doing better things in life.
Yeah, do you feel like media has a part to play where they're portraying an image of a woman that's practically impossible to obtain unless you starve yourself for like months on end or go through cosmetic surgery or whatever it may be? Do you feel that the media has a big part? Well, I feel the media has a part to play in terms of how they portray and stereotype women. Do you feel that media has a part to play?
110%, but not just about cosmetics and starving themselves, but just a simple showing cleavage or showing too much skin or makeup. I feel like girls are now, they're going to still make up this and other to portray something that they're clearly not if they're going through something to do what other people are doing. And I think the whole cleavage and showing skin, if you're 12, 13, you shouldn't be doing that. But because all these top models are doing it and these people are doing it, and that's another thing that just plays into young girls' minds. And then again, it's all about the confidence. You can be anything, you can look any way and love yourself, but if you look at something else online, it might make you feel insecure.
And maybe affects your self-esteem.
Yeah, definitely a big thing about self-esteem, because as I love myself now, but when I was younger and I had bad self-esteem, I just, every time you're walking somewhere, you're around people, you have the feeling that eyes are on you constantly. When in reality, you shouldn't care. And that's what young girls are doing. They're caring too much. And I think you shouldn't care as long as you know what you're doing. But you should care about protecting yourself. So yes, you should not care that you're wearing cleavage and you're putting cleavage, showing cleavage, but you should also look at the consequences that could take place if you do.
Yeah, it's a really fantastic point. And just going back to one of your other points that you raised, which is really important, the role of older women. Do you feel that that's purposely done? That older women are purposefully going at their way not to educate and be a positive role model for young women, or do you feel that's because they've been affected and they have issues that maybe they're going through? Why do you feel that's happening?
I think as a young person, I think that women are trying to control their daughters too much, even their sons. I feel like instead of doing too much controlling, they're not actually speaking to their sons or daughters. I feel like that affects the relationship quite a lot. Therefore, the child is not listening to the parent. But when it comes to like young women, I feel like mothers are just, they are looking at the media themselves and have problems with themselves. So if they have a problem themselves, they can't help the young person. I feel like that's another thing that just, it doesn't help the young women to look and be presentable because their mum is not happy with the way they are, so they're not going to be happy with the way they are.
Fantastic point. And do you feel that girls are affected by gangs or involved in gangs? Because the media portray a lot of young males majoritively being involved in gangs. Do you feel that women and young girls have a role to play in gangs or are involved in gangs or are affected by gangs from your experience or knowledge?
Yes, and also no. I feel that the major consequences are with the young men, but when it comes to the women, I think they're seeing like all the whole street and roadman image as a good thing, as like I don't want the normal person to be my boyfriend. I want the gang person to be my boyfriend. And that is like, it's not right. The whole like, the materialistic things, the whole brands of clothes, the chains, the rings, watches. Young girls are looking at that and say, I want that as a boyfriend, instead of saying, no, I want this for myself to do this and the other when I'm older. But when it comes to the gangs and stuff, because of that reason, young girls are going for the roadmen. They're getting involved in it, and
getting caught up.
Yeah, and the young men are taking advantage of the young women, and then it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. I feel like young girls just need to have more confidence in what they're doing and make sure that they're not relying on anyone else. They're not looking at anyone else. They're trying to get their stuff together for themselves instead of looking at a roadman that has watches and this and the other that is drug money and fraud. Like, it's not right.
And I think you touched again on another fantastic point. What's really important is that young women are idolizing and being attracted to young males that are involved in gangs, not knowing necessarily the immediate danger that they place themselves and their loved ones in, and then the repercussions of that is usually really devastating.
Yeah, I don't know why it is attractive, and no, actually I do. There is one point I think that people aren't attracted by it, is that a lot of like gang people and people who what's the word? The people who have that image of a roadman are getting that attention more than a normal regular guy. They're getting attention from the media, they're getting attention from even like BBC News. People are touching on that topic a lot. And I think that's another reason why it does attract young women, because it's like, oh yeah, this person's got this many views, this person's got that many people looking at them on this, talking about
their social media presence.
Yeah, it's just like the social media world is mad. I feel like girls are looking at, oh yeah, he might have 100k followers, but behind the scenes he's selling drugs, he's doing this, but they don't care. They want someone like that because they've got all the nice flashy things, they've got the followers, they've got this, they've got that, until something happens, and then what are they gonna do? They've got no one else to blame but themselves, and they just need to be careful.
And in terms of like, young women in healthy relationships, do you feel that there's anything that young women could do more to protect themselves from danger and from being caught up with the wrong males and being in the wrong positions and places where they're at immediate danger?
I think young women and just women in general need to believe in themselves more. I think instead of just letting anyone and everyone take you out on a date and see where it goes, I think women need to give the man a chance to put in effort and show why he should have something that's so precious, or why he should have you around. Just, yeah, you can be friendly, yeah, you can do this and that together, but to give him your 110%, he needs to work for that. And that's where a lot of young girls are not doing that. I know many people where they're having sex with this person, having sex with that person, and they end up with a baby. No one worked to get that sex for you, and now you've got a lifelong commitment you have to put in when the father's not there and the father didn't work for it in the first place. And it's a thing where you have to be hard to get, but to get what is good. Not easy, and then get a hard problem. Hard consequence.
And finally, just to round up, a fantastic interview and a really informative interview by a really intelligent person and someone who really speaks up for young women and for the community, especially young adults, young women in general. What words of encouragement could you give a young woman who's struggling maybe in an unhealthy relationship, maybe struggling with low self-esteem, maybe negative peers, maybe, traumatic experiences that she's dealing with? What advice could you offer?
it's hard to give advice to every situation and any situation, and individual situations. But what I say to people is just have confidence in yourself. I think it's good to take time out of social media, of people that you might see all the time, of negative people. Just take time off and work on yourself, and you will see the people who are there for you after you've done that. Because people won't be able to stay for that journey, and people won't like the change that might take place. But at the end of the day, a change that could be so big could impact your life so much. It's I think young women, they just need to love themselves before they do anything else. Before they love their friends, before they love any man, they need to love themselves and see where they want to be in the next 10 or 20 years. Before they just start doing this and before they start doing that. It's big to work on yourself more than anyone else. And they're not doing that, they're just looking at the social media. But if you step back and the social media is not there, then you make your own expectations for yourself instead of looking at social media's expectations. So yeah, I say love yourself, be confident, and aim big.